Hey everyone, it's Varsha from Coaching by Varsha. Here is another reaction video to a dating story. This is not about right or wrong. It's about finding love in your life forever, lasting good love. And like her page, like her video, I'm going to link it down below. Please subscribe to see more of these reaction videos from me. And let's get into the next one.
What the hell is this date? What did I get myself into? Why am I here right now? Why did I agree to do this? This person has been incarcerated. He left a girl when she was passed out. Dating life is an absolute shit show. Let me stop because this is so embarrassing.
This is not funny.
1,000 subscribers. Like, my subscriber count has just skyrocketed in the past week. How much it means to me. A couple months ago, my life was really not great and I was really depressed and I was questioning what am I here for, what was I brought here to do? I feel like I don't know where I fit in this world. I'm in a really good spot right now, so thank you guys so much. I am so thankful that so many people are resonating with my story, are just enjoying my content, so a sincere thank you to all of my new subscribers.
Okay, I love that she's in a good place. Yay, that's what we want everyone to be in. However, I'm curious as to whether she's actually generated that on her own or if she's using success on YouTube as a thing that makes her in a good place, because the opportunity is to actually have the inner work that creates this good place without having to rely on followers, subscribers, likes, all of that. It's a trap.
If you thought my dating life was bad before, I have a lot of content coming up about how horrific it is. Wait until you guys hear about Adrian. Oh my God, you thought that Ryan was bad? Wait till you hear about Adrian, but we're not ready for that video just yet.
Oh,
So today's
this is
video,
so sad. I hate that this is the way
I guess
it
it's already paused. Please subscribe to my podcast, The Millennial Empath. We are going to bring it back all the way to 2017, where Dakota was naive, not focused on what she should have been focused on, definitely insecure, desperate, not where I should be in life. Let's just say that.
Okay. So talk about being really hard on yourself. I mean, look at all the things that she's doing, podcast, YouTube, whatever else she does to generate things in her life. I mean, wow. And not to mention, success in other areas. So, I mean, I think it's natural for us to have self-doubt or self-confidence being lowered when dates go bad. But it's just, it's okay. You're fine exactly where you're at.
And I got a lovely DM from this boy, and we're going to call him, he had two names. It was kind of like a Justin Bobby situation from the Hills, so I can't use either. So we're going to use a completely different name then. We're just going to call him Jacob. Jacob was a photographer, and I don't know what it is about a man, but when he has a passion that he is so into and infiltrated with, it is so attractive to me. I don't care. It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter what you...
Okay, so two things. First of all, sliding into the DMs, it's a very dangerous territory to get used to that and to get comfortable with that being the way that men reach out to you. Look, it can totally work. I don't want to dismiss it, but be careful because it makes you look at their social media as a way to know and trust them, but that's not always the full picture, right? Social media is where people put the stuff that looks really good. And so, I love that she sees that he has a passion, but that's such little knowledge about him just because he, says he is this way on social media.
Living, when you have a passion that you're so strong about and just so into, it is just so attractive to me. And I think because it just shows ambition that they're a go-getter and that they are breaking societal norms because they're building up a side business or a side hobby, and I just think it's so attractive. So he was a photographer.
Totally, those things are attractive, but what we're using as a way to determine that he has these qualities is not true fact. It is merely his presentation on social media and our judgments about what he's saying and what he's presenting.
And I really just loved his profile, what he stood for, and he just seemed like a really cool guy. He also loved pizza, which I love pizza as well, so I just thought we would be a perfect match.
Stop it. Get some help.
So he DM'd me one
Okay,
night because
perfect.
I was up way past my bedtime.
She is completely aware, and I love how introspective she actually is being, despite being a little maybe too hard on herself. Like, very cool. I love that little part.
Start talking and exchanging words, and the conversation is going well, and the conversation ends up carrying on the next week. We just start talking every single day on Instagram until we are like, let's exchange numbers.
Okay, so talking every day on Instagram and then let's exchange numbers. Like, no. Again, you've heard me say this a million times. Please just get on a call with someone so you can vet them a little bit more clearly. It is so not the norm. It is so not the culture. But today, everybody's complaining about dating and no one's willing to shake it up or change things. So this is not a conversation. This is when it's convenient to me, I will text you. And it really shows so little commitment. Get on the phone, people. Do it earlier and vet each other. One of the core principles in coaching is to put aside the past in a way that allows you to not have it show up to the next relationship or the next conversation. And not because you can't learn from it or that you should like get over it, but really just so that it's not detrimental to the next stage of your life and what you really want. And so what I'm noticing here is that she's clearly knows where she's at in her progress in a relationship. So that's great, but it almost seems like she's letting that affect what she's about to do.
So my priorities were just all over the place, as you can already tell. So I already had the...
Clearly she is so aware, and I love this. My curiosity is like, how has it been going now? And look, if you're watching this, please let me know, like, where are you at? What have you learned? And are you actually putting it in action to take these lessons and not have dating go poorly anymore?
You know, we're getting to know each other so much, and he brings up that he would like to hang out. Now, for me personally, I don't know about you guys. I've seen way too many episodes of CSI. I've watched way too many true crime videos. I am just the type of girl where I will not go to your house the first time I meet you because I don't know if you're going to stash me away somewhere and I will be on a milk carton the next day. I said it in my last story time. I will say it again. I don't mess with that. So I always like for the first couple of times to be in a public setting. I like to think I have good intuition, at least now. So I can tell if you're just going to be somebody that I don't potentially see myself with and accept.
Regardless of intuition, like, please, on the first time you're physically meeting someone, no matter how much intimacy you think you've created via text or phone, public places are usually the best place. They are safer. Let someone know where you're going. I mean, I think these are like truly basic things, but I think in today's very fast dating world, we tend to overlook some of that safety stuff because we feel comfortable in our homes and we think that everyone is kind of like us, but that's just not the case. So be careful.
So I decided that we would hang out, but I said, let's go somewhere because I'm not trying to go to your house. Now, this is going to come up in a later thing in the video, but I had my own apartment and he had his own apartment, he said.
Okay, it sounds already like this is going to be a story about a lot of lies. And so let's see. Let's see.
I feel like I've dated like little boys in a sense of like they never have anything to their name, anything to them at all. They're not working on anything. They're just like living. And I wanted somebody that was like passionate and motivated about life so that I could kind of be in the same caliber as them. So I totally just thought this guy was checking like every single box. Bitch, if I only knew.
Okay, big tip. So yes, we want to lean into trust. We want to take people for their word. And we also need to know that if this is something that we value, someone having their own place and being their own person, then take a look at what it's going to take for you to know this about them beyond just the first date or the first conversation. Because yes, everyone can say they have this, this, and this, but how do we actually know that they do?
Oh, okay, like that's, you know, it's detached from the house, like it's, you know, that's great. By the way, I don't judge anybody for where they live or what they do. I've literally dated people who live in the basement at their parents' house, like not finished or anything.
There is a difference between like judging someone for that versus actually just knowing what it is that you want to see in a person because it reflects a certain value that you have. Maybe it's about, you know, what they have accomplished in their life because you've accomplished a certain amount. it's okay. Like, it is not making you less of a person to actually want something in a person that you also have.
Time goes on and we decide that we are gonna hang out one night, and we decide that we are gonna go to a restaurant and that he was gonna pick the restaurant. I was like, oh my God, even better. Like, he's taking initiative. Like, this is amazing. So we talk about how, like, you know, I'm like, do you want to meet there, or do you want to, like, go in the same car? And he breaks it down for me that he actually doesn't have a car. And not only does he not have a car, but he doesn't have a license. And let me just say, this is my first time ever experiencing that. Anybody that I've ever dated has at least had a car.
Red flags, guys. Red flags. Okay, now, doesn't mean that we're judging anyone that doesn't have a license or a car. That's not the point here. The point is that she's bringing this up this early in the conversation, possibly because these are things that she finds to be part of her normal lifestyle and potentially wants her partner to have as well. And that's totally okay. And so we need to actually start thinking about, what does it mean about the person that they're in the situation of no car and no license?
A license. Okay, no, Ryan didn't have a license. He had a car though. A car that was always broken down.
Yeah, my dear, dear woman, like, why are you dating with such low standards? This is something that you clearly care about, something that you've created for yourself one way or another. And so it is totally okay for you to expect that. And it is so interesting because the more we actually think about wanting that quality in our life, even though it sounds counterintuitive, like the bar is now higher, we think that that's going to mean that the options are fewer, but that is just not the case.
Car. I'm seeing a very commonality pattern when I talk about the guys I used to date in the past. Oh my goodness. I want to give my past self a big hug right now. And like I said before, he lived close to me, but he did not. He lived close to the town I used to live in that I also went to school in. So for me, I was just like, okay, like whatever. I go to that old town all the time. My dad lives there. I have family there. Like, it's cool. I tell him no problem.
Yeah, I do believe that making distance not be a thing that keeps you from dating someone is a huge plus. Because when you actually do fall in love with somebody, it's amazing how magically things can just fall into place, regardless of location and distance.
Get you, like, it's really not a big deal. Like, I just want to meet you and hang out with you. Like, I don't care about that. Like I said, I'm a very, like, giving and generous and understanding person. Like, I would never not date somebody because they don't have a car.
Yeah, so you're giving and generous, but are you being willing to allow others to be giving and generous towards you? And I have a hunch that that's kind of where this woman in particular needs a little bit of a boost in her life, that she is also deserving of getting as well.
You don't know ever what anybody is going through in their life. You don't know if they don't have a car because they're paying for, like, their mother's medical bills, or they're trying to help, like, a family member out. Like, you never know what someone's going through, and you could potentially miss out on a really good person because you're judging them by material things. And for me, it's like, I would rather look at who you are as a person, how your character and morality is, like how your heart is. For me, that's more important than material stuff. Like, if you're not with somebody during, like, their struggle time, I feel like you don't deserve them in their prime time, and that's just how I feel personally. So I looked past it because I thought that he had really good redeeming qualities outside of materialistic items that made me attracted to him. So it wasn't an issue for me to go pick him up. We decide a day and a time that we are going to hang out.
Okay, So there's a difference between, like, loving someone and going through hardships with them. And sometimes people in relationships discover after hardship that they're not in it for the right reasons, and therefore they can't see the person through to that. But when you're with somebody and they're in the hardship at the start of the relationship, you have to really be careful not to fall into the trap of pretending that you're willing to wait until it gets better, because the problem there is that it may never get better. So it is a fine line between being there for someone versus, like, dissing them and dismissing them unfairly. But it is always something to take into account and, like, really make a note of, so that you're not staying in the hardship stage for too long.
I begin thinking if this is a good decision. I start getting some weird sensations in my stomach. I start getting some weird feelings in my chest. And back then, knowing what I know now, that was probably my angels, spirit guides, God, everything in my body telling me to not go on this date because it was going to be a disaster. And it fucking was, and it was, and it was. But I really wanted to start getting myself out there after my ex, because I was like, how am I ever going to meet somebody if I don't go out, you know? So I realized.
Okay, so clearly she's done some work on her anxiety, and it sounds like, yeah, absolutely, right? You want to put yourself out there. However, I think it's really dangerous to force yourself into it. In coaching, we really want to generate like that from a natural and organic way, so that it doesn't seem like pushing yourself and just this forceful thing. Because when it doesn't work out, then it's gonna be, you're gonna resent it.
I proceed with this date. So I get ready, you know, I do my makeup, I do my hair, I take a nice shower, I pick out a cute outfit, and I go and pick, I'm not even gonna call him a man, this boy, I go and pick him up. Now, like I said, he lives near my old town, so that was already a half an hour away. So I'm driving a half an hour away to go pick him up. 15 minutes to go to the location. Afterwards, I'm gonna have to drive him back and then go all the way home. But guys do it for girls all the time, so like I said, I didn't mind.
Look, this woman's capacity in life is so big. Imagine what could be possible in her life if she wasn't spending time on this drama. Like this guy having to do this video. Now, granted, she's probably making money off this video, so clap for that. However, like, she just does not deserve this. I mean, what she's producing in her life, this time is better spent elsewhere for sure.
Picking him up, that wasn't the issue. That was not even the worst part of this whole date. Just buckle in because it's gonna get bumpy. So I tell him I'm on my way. I go and I grab him, and he comes into my car. Now, as we're driving, we're just kind of talking, making small talk, kind of, you know, trying to get to know each other. He's telling me where to drive, etc. And as we're talking, I'm kind of realizing that he's a little bit cocky. The difference between being confident and being cocky. But I'm like, whatever.
Okay, there's so many things built into this. Yeah, totally, right? Nobody wants to date someone who's like a little bit boisterous or whatever. But here's the thing, sometimes that's something that people do when they're nervous, number one. And number two, when you're starting to notice this and it comes up inside of you that this person might be doing this thing that you don't like, consider how you might be able to get them to change that behavior by actually doing something that has them put their guard down and showing them that you are willing to accept them for who they truly are no matter what.
He's just nervous. Like, sometimes when I'm nervous, I talk too much anyway. So I'm like, okay, maybe he just is a little bit nervous, whatever. We continue to drive. We get to the place, we park, and we go inside. Now, right away, another red flag. We walk in, and he knows the bartender automatically by name. They like dap each other up. And so I'm just looking around and I'm like, okay, great. I'm probably like girl number 3 of the week. Or
hey, by the way, if this is something that you do, like if going to a regular place for your dates is something you're finding is just how you roll, DM me, message me, schedule a discovery session, because this is not how dating should go. Like, nip it in the bud, find somebody, especially if you are looking for a long-term relationship. Let's have a conversation so that you don't have to keep going on these like first date after first date. Like, let's get elevation in your relationships.
Right away, I kind of noticed that he has a little bit of a drinking problem because he ordered about 3 whiskey shots within 5 minutes. Not normal, but go off. And as one does, usually on a first date, you talk.
Okay, why am I still watching this? It's because there are small nuances here that can actually improve your dating. Now, obviously, we are all like, okay, 3 shots in the first 5 minutes of a date, super red flaggy, and also, you know, just not good. But there are other subtle things that are happening here that I think are still useful.
Really attractive thing about him was that he was in love with photography. And I just thought that that was really attractive. I don't know what it is when somebody has like a hobby or a passion that they are really just like all into. It shows me they have drive. It shows me they have ambition. And that was just a really attractive.
Why does passion about a subject show ambition? I'm not sure, because to me it's like people are passionate about things, but like, what are the actions that actually show that this passion comes with ambition? I'm not quite sure yet.
quality to me, in my opinion. So he's kind of talking about that. And at the time, I was a freelance makeup artist. Now that was a very short-lived career choice for me because I love doing makeup. I love makeup so much. But at the time, I was like a freelance makeup artist. I had like a couple pictures of some clients that I had on there. I had in my bio that I was like a freelancer. If anybody wanted me to do their makeup, like here's my email, you know, stuff like that for promotion. And I remember we were just talking about like our crafts and stuff, and he goes on my Instagram and he's like,
"You don't look like you're a makeup artist."
and I was like, "What do you mean?" And he goes,
"Well, no, I'm not saying like your makeup's not good. It's just you don't promote yourself enough."
and I said, "Well, yeah, because I'm a freelancer and I'm just starting. I'm not really like out there trying to make it a business just yet. I'm just kind of vibing and seeing what happens and like where it goes, because I have people like hitting me up."
What's happening on the date right now is that she's feeling self-conscious and he's trying to impose something on her that will make her feel like he knows more than she knows. That's what the vibe that I'm getting. And honestly, it's just like not fair on a date to do something like this, because it just puts people's guards up. Now she feels like she needs to prove herself and show that she's like just starting and blah, blah, blah. The point is, you know, try not to be the person that makes another person feel like they need to prove themselves to you.
I was explaining that to him, and he's like, "Well, this girl that I follow," and he like pulls up like the search engine and types in a name. He's like,
"Yeah, you see this girl? Like she has her work everywhere. Like she's about it."
just like, okay, like I'm not clearly, but go off, cool. What was wrong with me in 2016, 17? I couldn't tell you. That was kind of like weird to me. And then he goes to his profile and he's like, "Where's my phone?" Hey, like this is his phone. He's just going through Instagram. He's like, "Yeah, I always just really try to like interact with my followers."
Okay, I get it, right? Like in today's world, so much is in our phones that sometimes we get to bring them out during dates to have a conversation, to show something, blah, blah, blah. But the truth is that like one day you're going to want to connect with this person. Potentially, if you're dating them, you're going to be with them forever, potentially. Try putting your devices away and actually, no matter what, even that urge to be like, "Oh my God, let me show you my pictures from this amazing trip I dove off this cliff." Like fight that urge so that you can just connect with the person, their eyes, their heart, all of that. I know, right? I sound like an old lady trying to date like it was back in the 1980s. But the truth is today things are just not working. So are you willing to change it up?
It's a domino effect. We're casually having conversation, and you know, like I ordered a drink, he keeps ordering shots, and then he gets onto the topic of how he's been incarcerated not only once but multiple times, and he was almost permanently incarcerated. Let's just say that when he was incarcerated, he was going to do something to another inmate that would have caused him to stay there forever. Like it was so nonchalant, so just dry and like out there. There was
Again, all of this just has to do with cool, glad she's noticing that this is probably not the right guy for her, and no judgment towards the person, only looking at like, what does this mean about who I want to be with? That's it.
And he goes on to tell me that one time he was on a date with a girl, and they were at the beach, and they were strolling along the beach, and they were talking, and they were, you know, just having casual conversation, and they got to kissing. They started kissing a bit, and out of nowhere, she passes out. I don't know why she passed out. I don't know if they were like drinking or I have no idea.
This is like a bad date within a bad
right
date.
In front of him, and instead of like, you know, calling for help or calling her parents or trying to do anything, he left. I'm not laughing at the situation. I'm laughing because like, what the hell is this date? What did I get myself into? Why am I here right now? Why did I agree to do this? Like, this person has been incarcerated. He left a girl when she was...
How could this have been avoided? Phone conversations before you spend an evening with a person that doesn't vibe with your morals and values.
Out. It was probably in this moment that I'm looking at the big man upstairs and I'm asking what I ever did in the past lifetime or this current one to deserve this. Like, I don't...
Absolutely nothing. You don't deserve this. I think you know that, and I think that there are ways to avoid this.
Understand what I ever did to deserve a date like this. He just kept ordering more drinks, then he like ordered me a shot. Obviously, I took it because, hello, like, he paid for it. I'm not going to not take it.
Not a good reason. Don't take shots if you don't want to take shots. It doesn't matter who paid for it, please.
And yeah, so at this point I go to the bathroom because I need to gather myself and figure out how the hell I'm going to get out of this. So I go to the bathroom, I get myself together, and then I come to the terrible realization that I drove this man here. And I wasn't just going to leave him there because it's not in my moral compass. So
thanks for noting that. And what I will also add in this is the financial aspect of it is that if you weren't able to or not feeling safe to drive the person back, whether it's from drinking or just all these maybe safety issues, definitely, have it in your capacity to be like, let me call you a Lyft, let me pay for your Lyft, and blah, blah, blah. I think that is just, nowadays a safety thing to consider, and also something to like budget for if you're going to be dating a person that you've never met before or never had an intimate conversation with before.
I had to take him home. So I come out of the bathroom, we talk for a bit more, and I kind of start leaning towards the idea of us leaving because I'm done at this point. Like, I've heard enough, I've seen enough. I want to go home, get back into my bed, watch true crime videos, and pretend that this whole night never existed. I will say that besides the incarceration, the car crashes, him leaving the girl on the date, that we had good conversation. Besides all of that, we had good conversation. He's not a bad person. Like, he's pretty cool. It's just
I have a feeling that this woman can have a good conversation with most anybody just because she's kind and open-minded, and that is not indicative of a good date at all.
And I will say that he did at least pay for the dinner, so at least I didn't have to go through that and pay for my own meal because I feel like I deserve
at least. I'm not going to even get into that one right now.
Emotional compensation for what I witnessed and what I heard. We get in the car and we're just like talking, and he's like, bringing up the idea of us hanging out and after this, and I don't know what is wrong with me or why I agreed to it. Like I said, I wanted to be home in my bed watching true crime, pretending this night never happened. But I could lie and say in this story that I did that.
Please
but
lie
I'm
for
not
me.
a liar, and these stories are, unfortunately, I wish I could make them up, but I can't. They're actually true. So unfortunately, I have to tell you guys that I did end up going to his house with him just to hang out, just to hang out. That was literally it. I was like, okay, maybe I didn't give him a fair enough chance, or maybe I didn't
Yeah,
maybe
you're too
he's
nice.
just troubled, and maybe I could just fix him.
Stop it. Get some help.
Like I said, 2017 Dakota versus now, two different
Clearly
regions,
she's done the
literally.
work
I end up going to his house, and I
out of
park the
these
car,
things.
and I'm like, okay, I told him, I was like, I'm just gonna stay for an hour, then I really have to go. I have work in the morning. We go downstairs, and it is just a basement. It's any old basement, like the basement that I have downstairs in this house right here. It's just a basement. There's no anything in there that would insinuate that this thing was finished.
Okay, sketchy situation number 2, alone in this person's basement. You don't know them yet. There's danger here. And, I trust her to kind of maybe have used her instinct or whatever. So I don't want to judge. I am not judging. However, it's just something to notice that this is a super dangerous situation. And I think she already has plenty of red flags. She clearly knows she made a mistake in the past, and she's addressing that, which is great. A lot of ways that this could have been avoided. And it also is just something that went way too far.
And to end the perfect night with the perfect person, I then see a cockroach walking across the floor, and that was my cue to go. We didn't talk after that. I left, I said goodbye, I said thank you for dinner, and we did not speak. I think that we spoke maybe 2 months later, and then we were talking, and he was I think he was just checking in on me to catch up, and he's like, you ghosted me, and I was like, how did I ghost you? And he's like, well, you didn't text me after our date. And I'm like, phone works both ways. But if I'm being honest, I probably wouldn't have responded. Like I said, this is not in any way, shape, or form trying to make his character look bad. The moral of the story is catch up on the red flags, because I was not doing that, and I could have totally prevented myself from this whole experience if I had just listened to my intuition. Also, please consider subscribing to my podcast, The Millennial Empath.
There's my reaction. I mean, she has some great tips at the end. Please like and subscribe, and even check out her podcast that she talks about in her video. I definitely think that she is doing better in her dating life now. Again, this is not about right or wrong. She clearly sees what she was doing. I think the importance here is to really look at the things and see how to avoid them and to not have this be repetitive in her life or in your life. If this is something that you see yourself doing, if you are not getting clarity on what you want and how to actually see that in the dates and how to filter the prospective dates, then DM me, message me, schedule a complimentary session, and we can talk more about this. Thank you, everyone. Please like this video and subscribe. Talk to you soon.